All right, guys. So, I've talked about quite a bit that I think our Tea Party wave is here. I do. I think the left-wing Tea Party wave is here. And I love it. I love to see that. It's a little kind of crazy, though, because I remember, I was one of the co-founders of Justice Democrats, and we missed our window. We were too soon with Justice Democrats. To be fair, we had a bunch of victories. Like, we had a bunch of people run as Justice Democrats and win. Right, I mean, AOC obviously being the most prominent, but you also have Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ro Khanna, of course, joined the Justice Democrats. So, but we were too early. We created it after Hillary lost to Trump, and 2018 or so was what we thought our moment. But right now, your average Democratic voter is way more radicalized than your Democratic voter in 2018, and all of the polling data indicates that. I mean, for example, right after Trump got elected the first time, the overwhelming majority of Democrats wanted Democrats to try to work with Trump, try to compromise, find bipartisan solutions, etc. Now, that totally fucking flipped. It was maybe like that for like a week or two or a month or so after Trump got elected the second time. But now people are like, oh my God, no, we need you to oppose literally everything they do because these people are satanic. And the polls reflect that people feel like, no, do not work with them. You have to defeat them. Defeat the Republicans is the mindset now. Well, guess what? We're getting even more polling data coming in, validating the idea that Tea Party wave on the left is unstoppable. So let's take a look. Harry Enton says, liberal used to be a 4-letter word in this country, but no longer. The percentage of Americans identifying as liberal is at a 50-year high. Most Democrats now say they're liberal, 59%. A 50-year high, too. Also, the Dem lead on party ID is even bigger than at this point in 2018, which, of course, was still a big election for Democrats. Let's watch.
When I was a kid, liberal was a 4-letter word. Nobody wanted to identify as liberal.
Which, by the way, one of my first videos ever on Secular Talk in like 2008 or 2009 was let's reclaim the word liberal. Because that was like the peak of, the besmirching of that label, and like nobody wanted to identify as it because Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly and Sean Hannity had spent a decade or more like ruthlessly shitting on the concept of being a liberal, and everybody sort of ran away from the label because of the giant like propaganda network on the right, which like smeared the idea, right? And one of the first videos I did was let's bring that word back. Now, of course, this was pre, understanding politics from a more advanced perspective and understanding liberalism versus leftism, etc. And that was one of my first videos. And by the way, keep that in mind too as we're watching this, that the way your average American thinks of politics is just a liberal conservative spectrum, where the more liberal you go, the more left-wing you are, the more conservative you go, the more right-wing you are, and that's it. They don't look at it in a more dynamic way. They don't look at it like it's the quadrant spectrum where it's like libertarian left, libertarian right, authoritarian right. They don't look at like leftism as distinct from liberalism. So you just understand that as we watch this, okay? Let's keep going.
Guess what? The folks identifying as liberal, it has hit, get this, a 50-year high. And you can see it pretty well here. Take a look here. The conservative lead over liberals. This is self-ID'd political ideology. Back when I was a kid, conservatives had a 22-point advantage. Huge advantage. Now, it's just 7 points. That is a 15-point shift away from the conservatives towards the liberals in terms of the margin between the two of them. As I said at the beginning, the self-identified liberalness of this country is at a 50-year high. I went all the way back looking at polls since 1976, and at this point, more folks are identifying as liberal than at any point since the Gerald Ford administration.
It's interesting you brought up the Ford. In the 70s, 80s, even 90s, there were Democrats who like to say, oh, no, we're conservative Democrats
Correct.
here. We're running in the mainstream, what they call the mainstream of the party. Where do things stand now?
Yeah. Why is this movement happening? It is because Democrats, a big reason why is Democrats. I remember back in 2008, I think it was Hillary Clinton said, I'm not a liberal, I'm a progressive. That was how much liberal was of a 4-letter word. But take a look here. Democrats who say they're liberal. In 1976, it was 30%. In 2001, actually went down a point. It was 29%. Look at where we are today.
Wow. So in 2001, only 29% of Democrats said they were liberal, and now it's 59%. That's insane. That's such a huge swing.
59%, 3 in 5 Democrats say they are liberal. It might have used to be that the Democratic Party was almost more moderate conservative. Bill Clinton, of course, DLC, the Democratic Leadership Council, no longer the case. That DLC is adios amigos. This Democratic Party is a liberal. It is a liberal party. 59% of Democrats now identify as liberal. That is also a 50-year high.
Now, again, I want to reiterate, when your average American says, I'm liberal, really what they're saying is, I'm a leftist. I'm further left than just liberal. They don't know the terminology, right? But that's really what they're saying. Because again, most Americans think just a basic liberal conservative spectrum. They say I'm liberal, they're saying I'm left, right? That's what it is.
All the data I could find dating back to the Joe Ford administration.
All right. Whatever people say about their ideology, where do the parties stand right now with the midterms approaching?
Yeah, okay, so that is not the only good news for liberals. Take a look here. The party ID margin, Democrats versus Republicans. Now get this. In the latest reading, according to Gallup last quarter, it is an 8-point advantage for Democrats. That looks nothing like what we saw going into the 2022 midterms when Republicans had a 5-point advantage and, of course, took back the House. This is even better than what we saw Democrats had back in 2017 in quarter 4 when they had a 6-point advantage. And, of course, Democrats easily took back the House then. This follows 2017. 2018, Democrats are going to take back the House.
So way more people are now self-IDing as a Democrat. It was +5 in 2021. Now it's for Republicans. Now it's +8 in 2025 for Democrats. So in other words, my way of reading that is people look at what Trump is doing and they're going, oh my God, the opposite of this in every way, shape, and form. So look, why? Why is it that now more Democrats are identifying as liberal? Well, I think it's very simple. I think they're horrified at what is currently happening. And they view what's currently happening correctly as conservatism. This is MAGA conservatism. This is republicanism. That's what it is. So they're going, I'm the opposite of that in every way. Call me liberal, call me democratic. I'm the opposite of whatever the fuck is going on here. I'm the opposite of that shit. And then also, when you get into specifics and you go through the polls on the actual issues themselves, then it paints an even clearer picture. Because you have the majority of Americans want Medicare for all, and free college, and a living wage, raising the minimum wage, and ending the wars, and ending the corruption, and getting money out of politics, and taxing the rich, and, universal background checks on guns, and banning high-capacity magazines, and you go issue for issue, and Americans are on the left. They are on the left. They want, like, a social democratic system. They like the system that you see in, like, Scandinavia, in Norway, in Denmark, in Sweden. Like, they look at that and they go, yeah, that's what I wish we had here. And so it's an amazing shift, and I think it's only going to get stronger. But it would be nice. I mean, I guess we got to try to educate the American people, too, on the difference between liberalism and leftism. They don't really think of it in that way. But, a leftist incorporates some anti-capitalist elements or some more socialist elements into their politics. It's really, more of a post-capitalist philosophy, or at the very least flirting with that. And I don't know, I feel like now more than ever, the Democratic base is primed to hear that and be like, yes, tell me more, because I see the way the system's working right now, and this shit cannot continue. I see how everybody's struggling. I see how nobody can pay the bills. I see unemployment going up. At the same time, corporate profits are skyrocketing. I see inflation going up. I see that this system is not built for us. The system is built for the billionaires. It's built for the corporations. It's built for the Epstein class. It's not for us. Like, everybody is expected to just wake up, go to work, spend all your waking hours working for some soulless company, doing some shit you don't care about. You get minimal fucking time off, and whatever free time you have to fucking do laundry with it, right? Like, it doesn't feel like the system is not here for us. Like, the system is not built around people's needs. It's like we are forced into a system to feed the system. You understand what I'm saying? It's like the opposite of what it should be. Any intelligent system should be built for the well-being of humans, but really it's like the humans are being used for the well-being of the system to benefit the billionaire class. And I think people get that intuitively, which is why you're seeing they're shifting more liberal, but in their minds, again, that's leftist. So look out, man. It's happening. It is here. The more now when you get, Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or, somebody else coming out and tut-tutting, and they go, oh no, you can't vote for Katabu Gonzalez. She's too far left. Oh no, you can't vote for Graham Platter. He's too far left. We can't win with him. Now when they try to do that whole spiel, you can't support Abdul El Sayed. He's too far left to win. It's not going to work anymore. Now people go, oh wait, you're telling me this person's further left, this person's more of an outsider, this person's more of a radical? Great, I cannot wait to support them. Now I'm going to donate to them too, right? That's the idea. So it's happening, y'all. It is fucking happening, and these polls are colossal and devastating. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.